Yeah, so this I came across this stuff about Ariel Helwani and Brendan Schaub and Joe Rogan having a beef now, and it goes back to what happened in 2016 when Ariel was banned from UFC. You know what I found? Well, apparently those two guys, Rogan and Shaw, has been talking about this. I don't know why they talked about it because they already, I think, addressed it, and they suddenly started, talking about um, how Helwani was not being very, professional or fair to disclose that information about Brock Lesnar returning to UFC. But what I find strange is that Schaub has actually. I found a video where he talked about when it happened. And he was very like pro Helwani. Back then he was like saying, oh, Dana White wasn't, he shouldn't have said it, he was very rude. It was, I mean, Helwani is a journalist. What else is he supposed to do but, report that and stuff like. And he went as far as saying, if Dana White had said that to me, I would have fucking slapped him and stuff like that. Some macho bullshit. And yeah, I mean, these guys, I don't know why they. And suddenly now he's talking something completely different. He's saying, yeah, Helwani was not so, right to do that stuff. He was being, because Dana White had trusted him with that information. And I don't know if he was really saying that just to kind of agree with Joe or whatever it was, but I find it funny simply because 5 years ago he was on Helwani's side, and of course Helwani was really furious about it, and he called out both guys, but especially Sean, I think, because maybe he feels betrayed, I don't know, by him, even though they were never really friends. But he has really taken it to heart. He's taken it badly. So I wonder why he has reacted like he did. But he did have some, what he said was, um, he had a point simply, about Brennan because, when you go from saying one thing 5 years ago and now you say something completely different about the same subject, you show, that you have poor character simply. I mean, or either he has since been doing some thinking maybe and he changed his mind, I don't know. But it strikes me that guys like Brandon Sharp don't always think it over something before they say it, Because when a guy like Joe Rogan asks you for your opinion about something, such a subject which is so serious and complex as this, you better know what to say. I mean, you better first think it over before you just shoot your mouth out and start calling out people and giving them uh, how do you say, giving them feelings of guilt or whatever, or trying to give them that. But anyway, if you want my opinion on the whole subject, I think that what Ariel did back then was pretty much. I'm not. I don't like it. What he did because he was trusted with this very sensitive piece of information about something really important. He was specifically told not to tell anybody, not to leak this. But what he did, he was immediately he went to his podcast or whatever. Yeah, I think it was on his podcast anyway. And he uses this to have his best podcast ever, podcast episode. That's how I see it. He simply used this piece of information, which was very delicate, to boost his own podcast and image as the reporter who always has the hottest news, all that stuff. So that was not really very noble of him, but I guess Dana White is also partly to blame, because if he knew that Helwani was likely to do that, why did he trust him with that information in the first place? I would never have done that. I mean, that was pretty poor judgment from Dana's side, because he must have known by then. Ariel had worked with them, not for them, but with them for several years. I don't know exactly how many, like maybe 10 or something like that, 8, whatever. And yeah, so by then you must have known that Ariel is the type who is likely to take advantage of such a thing. So that's how, I mean, it must, place the blame on himself also, instead of, he went, he was just throwing a pity party for himself when we banned him. And then I don't know how long it went before they lifted the ban. But it did I don't know, a year or maybe less or some, maybe a year, I don't know, doesn't matter. Anyway, they lifted the ban, after that. It was supposed to be a lifetime ban. But in between they were thinking and said, well, Ariel is one of the best, maybe the best reporter out there, so we need people like that. So they just, kind of realized they pretty much need him, or, so anyway, I really, I can't understand why Ariel is now pissed at Schaub and Rogan, because he had forgotten all about this, or he's been trying anyway to forget, and now they drag this back into the light after 5 years. I would have been a little bit pissed myself. So nobody is really completely on the right side here. I would say Ariel was not right to reveal that information. He was like simply, as they say here, he was making his own cake, and yeah. On the other hand, Dana was should have known better than to trust him with this information. And yeah, Schaub, I would not blame Rogan, because I don't think he was very defensive of Ariel from the start. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. But Brandon was like, yeah, oh no, they were wrong about that. I should have never banned Ariel. Oh, fuck Dana White. And then he suddenly says, oh no, Ariel, did something wrong. Dana was right. Lorenzo, whoever, they were right to ban him. It shows the poor judgment, that if you can change your opinion so drastically, it's like people can never know, if you really mean it or not, what you say. Like, oh, he will say anything just to sound dramatic, and get some attention. So, yeah, it's a pretty complicated case. But I think it will blow over pretty soon, for what it's worth. Thanks. Thank you for watching. Bye.